Well, I guess my exposure to the Minnesota Minneapolis mission happened before I got my call. So right when I graduated from high school, I got hired at a job, and there were a few. There was myself, four return missionaries. They all got hired, and I remember one served in Guatemala, one served in the Dominican Republic, one served in Belgium, and then one served in Minnesota. And I remember thinking, wow, I wonder what that guy did wrong that he got called to Minnesota. And didn't think a whole lot of it. And then sure enough, when I got my call and I opened it and it said Minnesota, I just knew right then that God he remembered what I said a few years before. So it was kind of a humbling experience, but I am so glad that that's where I served, because it was exactly where I was supposed to be, and I loved every minute of it. And I remember when I first got called there, of course you start meeting people who served there or who have connections to Minnesota. And it was, I left in the summer. And so it was really nice. My district in the MTC, everybody that was in there went to my same mission. So it was really fun to be able to get to know all of these. They were all elders, but we were able to meet each other and be with each other for a full 2 years. And so that was really neat. One thing that I was grateful for is that I went in June, and they had just called a new mission president to my mission. And so we actually went out together. And so it was really neat to get to meet him in the MTC. And I think that it helped that we were the first group, because we were kind of the favorites, of course, just because they knew us for the longest. And so that was really fun. But it was really, there wasn't as much of a culture shock because it was stateside, which was really nice. When I needed to buy a coat, I just went to Kohl's and Target or wherever I needed to go and bought my things. I didn't have to worry about somebody shipping them to me and taking 4 weeks and putting Jesus stickers on them or anything. It was just nice to be accessible to modern conveniences. So that was really nice. The first few days in the mission field were really interesting. It was July, end of June, beginning of July when I went out there, and I was not quite prepared for the humidity. Minnesota is one of those interesting places that everybody knows that it's cold. It's really cold, but it's also really hot and really humid, being in the Midwest. And so I got out there and just started sweating a lot. And I remember my first apartment, the only air conditioning we had were these little wall units, and they didn't work. So it got really hot, and my companion and I tried to find ways that we could cool off. And so we went to the grocery store and bought this huge box of Otter Pops, like 150 Otter Pops, and we just froze them. And then when we'd come in for lunch or for dinner or just at night, we would just put them on our forehead and try to cool down that way. And we'd go through a box of those a week almost. So that was kind of the introduction that I had to Minnesota.